Hello and welcome everyone to the Sharmit podcast. Today I'm here with another special guest, Len Santalucia. Len is a distinguished figure in the IT industry with over 5 plus years decades of experience. Len began his career in 1973 and has since become a recognized leader in the world of technology. He currently serves as a Chief Technology Officer and Business Development Manager at Vicom Infinity and holds the prestigious position of Chairperson for the Linux Foundation Open Mainframe project. He has deep expertise in Linux, open systems, large scale virtualization, and emerging technologies like Web 2.0 and object oriented systems, particularly in financial services and bank sector. So, today in this episode, we are going to talk about his professional journey and his contribution to the IT industry. But before we jump into the discussion, I would like to thank Len for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us something about yourself.
Well, thank you, Sharmit. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet all of you. My name is Len Santalucia, and I'm what is known as a Chief Technology Officer at a company called Vicom Infinity. We are a converged technology solutions company. We were acquired about 3 years ago in October, and but before that, our company has actually been in existence since the early 1990s. During that time, the owner of Vicom Infinity met me at a client, and we were both presenting together, and we got a chance to meet each other and know each other. And we decided that after we saw what presentations we were giving, that it made sense for us to work together. And since then, I have been working with, and his name is Thomas Amodio. He also lives in the New York area. And Tom was just starting the company out. He was like one, maybe two other people with him at the time. And he was trying to make his way into IBM accounts. He had a lot of very good IBM hardware and software expertise. And one thing led to another. And I said, Tom, you should follow me around, and I should also follow you around and go to customers together. And then once we got, working with each other, we said, all right, now let's divide and conquer. I would go someplace and tell him, you should follow me now over here. And he would go someplace and I would follow him over there. We covered a lot more ground that way. So this company has been around since the early 1990s. However, I go back with IBM to the year 1973. So as Sharmit mentioned to you, this is actually my 51st year with the IBM mainframe. It's been a remarkable journey. I wouldn't trade it in for anything in the world. It's been just fantastic. And, some people ask me, why did you choose this career? Well, it kind of chose me more than me choosing the career. I I was going to a university.
Okay.
I graduated in 1973, a place called Binghamton University. That is also in the same town where IBM originated. IBM was founded in the Binghamton, Endicott, New York area, upstate New York, is known as. It's about 3.5, 4 hours west of New York City, but that's where IBM decided to start. And well, I took a business degree, and I had some elective courses in computers that I took, not because I really wanted to take them, but because they filled my schedule, I had to have some more electives. And before I knew it, when I went to apply, actually one of the very first places I applied when I got out of school was IBM, because IBM, it's an IBM town, let's put it that way, where I was
Okay.
living. Big, at one time there were over 30,000 people employed by IBM in the Binghamton, Endicott, New York area. It was, you couldn't walk 2 inches without bumping into an IBMer. So I took the job uh, because they liked my computer courses. They didn't care about the business courses. I had some COBOL, I had some RPG, I had some APL, I had some assembler. Those were the languages of the day, back in the 70s.
Okay.
And it got me in the door. And, one thing, once you get in the door with IBM, at least back in those days, if you worked hard, were honest with everybody, you had good integrity and so on, the sky was the limit with IBM. You could go into so many areas with IBM. Well, the area that I really liked the most was, after I got some exposure to things going on in IBM, was around the IBM mainframe. And IBM mainframe back in those days was really on fire. It was very popular.
Okay.
It was being implemented everywhere you turned. People were putting in IBM mainframes and that kind of thing. And as I progressed in time with IBM, I started getting some exposure to going downstate to New
Okay.
York City and talking to a lot of financial services clients, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, all the
Okay.
names, bank, all the big banks. And the more I went down there, the more I kept getting asked to come back and spend time with them and talk with them, because they like, the financial firms are technology firms. They're
Okay.
not financial firms.
Okay.
Financial firms are technology firms. They really, of all the industries, in my humble opinion, I think the financial services companies really take advantage of technology, especially the mainframe. The mainframe was practically designed for them, and they still use a lot of mainframe today. They still do.
Okay.
And when I was just a little programmer kind of guy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I would get a chance to rub elbows with some of the early programmers in these financial firms also.
Okay.
And as my career advanced and their careers advanced, I'm still friends with a lot of them. Uh, they've been at it for a while too, so it was just a great experience to be able to be involved with those kinds of things and those kinds of companies and helping them with things. And then let's see, if you take a look at the timeline, along comes the 80s, the late 70s and early 80s, a lot of the traditional type of mainframe programming things.
Okay.
But then as we got into the 90s, people started thinking that they could do work on other platforms much less expensively than they could on the mainframe. And they soon found out that it wasn't really true, but they had all experience it for themselves. And then right at the tail end of the 1990s, along comes this operating environment called Linux. You ever hear of Linux?
Linux. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And um, I was asked to help lead a team
Okay.
to go after Linux opportunities with the whole entire server family, not just mainframe, with
Mm-hmm.
x86, power systems, and mainframes.
Okay.
And as I started working with these firms, I started finding that they preferred either Linux on x86, Intel types of machines,
Yeah.
and or a little bit on the mainframe, but not quite as strongly as they first started with x86.
Okay.
And I will tell you that I started working with them, and they found that they were starting to overrun their data centers
Okay.
with servers, and they were trying to figure out a way to curtail
Mm-hmm.
installing more because they didn't have any more room in their data centers. They
Okay.
didn't have any more power in their data centers. The cooling, it was getting very hard for them to manage. So I said, guys, this mainframe can do a lot of Linux on one mainframe compared to what you might have to do with, a few hundred of these other Intel servers. Yeah, but that's not the same. I said it is, and I said, why don't we try some proof of concepts? Why don't we, they kind of listened to me a little bit. Took me a little while, but they listened. And lo and behold, they started saying, this thing can really run a lot of Linux images
Yeah.
that we just can't seem to do on the x86. And so then the mainframe started catching on with Linux in the financial services sector quite a bit. And so in most of the cases, if you look today at the landscape, they have usually x86 and mainframe Linux servers working together because there are some things that do run better on x86
Mm-hmm.
than on mainframe, and there's some things that run better on mainframe than on x86. So the two
Okay.
complement each other very nicely. And you know, uh, now as I look at what's going on with the financial services sector, uh, there is quite a bit of this going on, and
Okay.
I really feel that you know, I was a little hesitant
Mm-hmm.
to be working on Linux on the mainframe myself because I said these guys were putting in so much x86, they're not going to want to do anything on the mainframe. But I'm glad I stuck it out because eventually um, I became pretty well known
Okay.
uh, across the industry, especially here in the Americas, with Linux on everything, not just only mainframe. And to this very day, being involved with Linux on the mainframe, I'll never regret it. It was the smartest thing I ever did. I almost bowed out, but I stuck it out, and so I'm so glad that I did. So that's a little bit how things unfolded over time. I mean, there's
Okay.
a lot more detail that I could give you, but we only have so much time this morning.
Yeah. Right. So thank you so much for this introduction, Len. And here I just want to add one thing which you didn't mention here. Those who know, I'm pretty much sure they also know this thing. Len is a man of his commitment. If he has committed to do something, for sure he is going to do that. Because today, in fact, today for this podcast, there were things were a bit different for him. It was not that easy for him to join this show, but still he joined this because he committed this thing with me. So I really appreciate this thing, and I it's really very inspiring for personally for me, because the way you are committed toward your work, it's really appreciable thing. So thank you once again for joining us.
You're more than welcome. That's the kind of things when you reach this point in your life, like me, these are the kind of things that are the most important to do is keep your commitments, help
Yes.
the new people coming on board into the industry and do whatever you can to help them. That's really the most important thing today. Although I have to still keep the lights on and sell things and get people to buy stuff, but this is the most important thing.
Yes, and you know what? This is the reason like we all look towards you as a mentor and an inspirational leader, and we all are learning day by day from you and from your experiences. So that's the reason.
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
so let's talk a bit more about your journey. So can you please explain your role as a chairperson of the Linux Foundation Open Mainframe project, and what
Yes,
what are some of the key initiatives you are currently working on?
yes. This has been a volunteer job.
Okay.
And I'm glad again that I volunteered to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sharmit, I think it was like August 2015
Okay.
when the Linux Foundation established the Open Mainframe project.
Okay.
And it also coincided with the announcement IBM made
Mm-hmm.
uh, about a mainframe called Linux One. I'm not sure if you've heard of that at all.
Linux.
And Linux One is a mainframe that only runs Linux.
Okay.
All right. And that came out in August 2015. Also, at the same time, the Open Mainframe project came out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And due to the work I had already been doing with Linux on the mainframe, uh, I was approached by the Linux Foundation Open Mainframe project and IBM to consider being the chairperson
Okay.
of the Linux Foundation Open Mainframe project. And I have been doing that role since then. It's been going very well. And this organization, if you are a mainframe client, if you are anything involved with mainframe and you like anything to do with Linux, I strongly recommend becoming a member of the Open Mainframe project.
Okay.
Um, there's probably about 20 plus different projects within the Open Mainframe project. One of the big ones is a project called Zoe,
Zoe.
ZOWE.
Yeah.
You probably looks like you've heard about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also there's another one called Feilong. And so Zoe is to ZOS
Mm-hmm.
as Feilong is to ZVM.
Okay.
It provides nice API interfaces uh, through the open source and that provides. And in each of these projects, and like I said, there's 22 other ones, so there's a lot of other ones. I don't have time to go through every one of them, but you can take a look at openmainframeproject.org, O-R-G.
Okay.
It has everything listed there. It tells you how to become a member. And if you're an educational institution, can become a member for free. There's no charge. And there are quite a few universities involved and
Okay.
colleges. And there's a lot of firms like Citi and ADP and Bank of America. There's a lot of them that are involved with this project because it brings such value to them and new ways to deploy software on the mainframe that they really like it.
Okay.
And I'm what's known as the chairperson of the governing board.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's been going on since 2015, and I enjoy it very much. And I don't think I'm going to be leaving anytime soon. But and there's a lot of nice people on the board with me from other companies, including IBM
Okay.
and Rocket Software and SUSE Linux and Broadcom. Uh, there's a lot of people, a lot of people that are, and it's nice working with them. It's a nice neutral ground too to work with them because we can all do what we know is right for the business instead of have to always worry about the political
Mhm.
nature and making decisions. Having to always worry about the politics, it's much
Yeah.
better. Real nice. But that's a little bit about the Open Mainframe project and me and how I got involved.
Okay. All right. So now I just want to ask you another question, which is again related to your role as an advisory board member at multiple universities. So how do you see the relationship between academia and industry evolving, particularly in IT education?
That's a good question. Um, a lot of it is dependent on the school itself.
Okay.
There are some schools that are fully on board. They jump right in head first, and they work very hard to help move the ball forward, projects forward, getting engaged.
Mhm.
Um, there is a internship program that the Open Mainframe Project sponsors.
Okay.
They pay students to do projects that companies want to get done, but don't have the means to get it done because they're either too busy or they don't have the time, they don't have the resources, and so on. So the Open Mainframe Project brings together these students with these companies that have the need for certain projects to get done. We finance it. The Open Mainframe Project finances them. They get paid.
Mhm.
It's a paid internship.
Okay.
And in some cases, we have found that these interns did such a good job and they impressed the company for which they're doing the internship that they got hired. They got
Okay.
hired right at the end, and they got a job right away,
Okay.
working in the mainframe area or something related to the mainframe in those companies. So it's been a great program, and we we keep, when it first came out, maybe we got maybe 20, 30 applications. This is now I think the 12th year. We got over 500
Okay.
applications.
That's a great
And
number.
and there's only about 10 spots open for 500 people. We're not gonna, so we try to find those other people that do not get selected to find a job or do another project, or because we don't want to lose them, you know.
Right.
And because once we lose them, we might not ever see them again, you know. So we figure out something to find
Mhm.
some place for them.
Okay. All right. So, looking back at your career, what accomplishment are you most proud of and why?
Wow. I would say that after meeting with all the different kind of customers
Hmm.
that I have had the opportunity to meet, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I can't even remember
Yeah.
all the names. That I believe with my heart that I can still go back to any one of them anytime and they won't slam the door in my face. They'll still talk with me. They'll
Okay.
remember me. They'll they're always very welcoming to me. And, you know, IT is nice. You don't get me wrong. IT and the technical stuff, I'm as much of a technical geek as everybody else. You
Hmm.
know, everybody loves technology,
Yeah.
but it's about the people. It's about the relationships
Correct.
that you establish throughout the years. And you run into somebody you haven't seen for a long time, and they come up to you and they want to shake your hand and talk to you for. And usually I can't spend too much time with them because I'm always running in another direction. But and being able to work, especially this point in my life,
Okay.
with young people, and helping them get started and helping their schools become more affiliated and working with the mainframe technology, teaching it, uh, using it for their own benefit,
Hmm.
uh, and help them establish relationships with um, their local businesses, like, for example, um, at Virginia Commonwealth University
Okay.
in Richmond, Virginia, we have helped them establish some programs with the local businesses like Bank of America and others to uh, teach and graduate uh, people with the mainframe skills that they can hire. They can
Okay.
hire and help them build out a nice program. So it's sustainable for the foreseeable future. I know that's a long answer to a short question, but that's how it all comes together in my head.
Okay. All right. So, Len, like talking with expert like yourself, like there are many things that we can discuss and we can learn from your experiences. But just because of the limitation of time, I would like to ask my last question. As we
Okay.
all look towards you as a mentor, but we just want to hear from you, like who has been like have there been any colleagues or mentors whose collaboration not only enhance your professional growth but also made your professional journey more enjoyable?
Yeah, uh, I have too many.
Okay.
But some, for example, it's not an individual, but it's a group of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
The team that I'm on today at Vicom Infinity,
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to be able to work with these people
Okay.
and support them and help them through uh, challenges that we all face on a daily basis. And they have always been very nice to me, very good to me, and you know, just made me feel uh, as part of the family, uh,
Yes.
and so on. That's one. So it's not an individual, but it's a bunch of
It's a
individual.
group of
Uh,
people.
Starting with our owner, Tom Amodio, and everybody else down underneath him, including me. We just have a very, very special team. And if they ever listen to this, they'll know who I'm talking about. And then at IBM, I had some very special people. Um, there's this, there was a few guys, Nick D'Onofrio, um, Steve Mills, um, Irving Wadowski-Berger,
Okay.
and a fellow by the name of John Sarsgaard. Um, and all of them have since retired. They were there for many years before me, but and many times they took me under their wing and worked with me as a peer. I'll never forget one time I was with Irving. We were going in to talk to UPS, the the UPS that delivers the packages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he turns to me. He says, "All right, Len, what do you want me to do?" And I'm thinking, Irving, you're the guy that's everyone wants to talk to. They don't want to talk to me. He said, "Oh, no, 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 no. You're going to start this off, and then I'll follow your lead." I go, "Oh my God." He made me sweat it out that day, but it was a good experience. And I just had a bunch of really good leaders like that really uh, worked well with me. They always took care of me, and I certainly tried to take care of them, but they didn't need too much because they wouldn't be in the positions they were in. But they made it look like I was. They made me feel good. Yeah, there's probably many more I'm forgetting here. Sharp, after 51 years, you meet a lot of people.
Yeah,
I've
right.
met thousands worldwide. I've traveled all
Yes.
over creation.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Lan, for joining this episode and for sharing so much information about your profile, your work experience, and many more other technical things. And again, I would like to thank you for doing so much for this IT industry and looking forward to learn a lot from your journey and your upcoming projects. So thank you once again for taking out your prestigious time and for joining this show.
Well, you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.